She knew she had to be careful. Too much too soon, and he might grow suspicious. But Tarek was not suspicious. If anything, he was blinded by his admiration for her. He saw in her not only a beautiful woman, but also a survivor. Someone who understood the harshness of the world as he did. He began spending more time with her, offering his help whenever he could, lingering in her presence even when there was no reason to. Though Tarek had never been one to let emotions cloud his judgment, there was something about Nora that softened him. When he spoke with her, his voice was gentler. When he saw her in the village, his eyes followed her movements with curiosity and awe. He started bringing her small offerings, food, extra blankets for her hut, even a dagger, which he said was to keep her safe. Nora, while keeping up the pretense, could feel the shift in Tarek's behavior. He was smitten, and she knew it. She had to play her cards right, carefully balancing her act of interest with her underlying goal of escape. To Tarek, Nora was unlike anyone he had ever known. Her sharp eyes, full of untold secrets, mesmerized him. Her movements were fluid, almost ethereal, whether she was healing a wound or simply walking through the village. The way she interacted with the other warriors, quiet but firm, made him respect her even more. But it wasn't just her physical beauty that captured him. It was the way she handled herself, the way she remained composed, even in the face of such trauma. In his eyes, Nora was not just a healer from a conquered tribe. She was a force to be reckoned with, someone who could stand tall even among warriors. Tarek's growing affection for Nora was exactly what she needed. She knew the Durumbar borders were impossible to cross without help, but with Tarek by her side, there was a chance. A slim one, but a chance nonetheless. She began to subtly plant the seeds, mentioning how difficult it must be for someone like her to ever be free again. She spoke of the borders, of how she would never see the outside world again. Each time, Tarek's expression grew more conflicted, as though he was battling with his conscience. Nora had to be careful. She couldn't rush him, couldn't give him any reason to suspect her true intentions. But slowly, day by day, she began to weave her web, hoping that Tarek's affection for her would be strong enough to blind him to the truth. But as Tarek's affection deepened and Nora's plan began to take shape, doubt began to creep into her mind. Am I truly prepared for this? She wondered, her gaze flickering toward Tarek as he lingered nearby. He's not like the others, but I can't forget who he is, what he is. Every day, she found herself questioning her resolve. Can I really use him like this? The warriors she healed had slaughtered her people, yet here she was, smiling at him, pretending to feel something she never could. This is survival, not betrayal, she reminded herself, trying to quiet the gnawing guilt. I'll do whatever it takes to escape, even if it means using him. The sun had barely risen, and the Durumbar tribe was already abuzz with excitement. It was a rare occasion for the entire village to be mobilized for a hunt. The warriors prepared eagerly, checking their weapons and boasting about the game they would bring back. Swords were sharpened, arrows inspected, and spears polished until they gleamed in the early morning light. The air was thick with anticipation, and even the women, who were staying behind, cheered the warriors on. For Nora, this was supposed to be her chance. The hunting party would leave the village nearly defenseless. Only women and children would remain, making it the perfect opportunity to escape. But her hope had been dashed when the leader ordered that she be taken along with the hunters. If any warrior were to be injured, her skills would be required to tend to their wounds. Tarek had been assigned to keep an eye on her. He rode up beside her, his face as stern as ever. though Nora could sense the softness in his eyes whenever they fell on her. Tarek's command. "You will ride with me," Tarek said, his voice commanding but not unkind. Nora had no choice but to comply. She climbed onto the horse behind him, feeling the warmth of his body against her as they prepared to leave. She couldn't risk giving away any sign of her true feelings. She had to keep playing her part, at least for now. As they set off, the other warriors cheered and laughed, ready for the hunt. Their excitement was infectious, and though Nora's mind was still occupied with thoughts of escape, she couldn't help but feel a small part of their energy. The warriors of Durumbar were seasoned hunters. They moved with practiced efficiency, checking their supplies and making sure everything was in place. Some spoke excitedly of the game they hoped to hunt. "I bet I'll bring back the biggest boar," one young warrior shouted, his chest puffed with pride. "Ha! You couldn't catch a rabbit if it fell into your lap," another teased, and the group erupted in laughter. The camaraderie was evident as they jested with one another. It was more than just a hunt, it was a celebration, a show of their strength and unity. Nora observed them, her mind churning with ideas, but there was little she could do now that she was stuck among them. As they rode deeper into the forest, Tarek kept close watch on Nora, though his guard seemed to be slipping. He would glance back at her occasionally, his gaze lingering a little longer than it should have. He had grown more protective of her in recent days, and Nora knew it. One of the older warriors rode beside them and caught Tarek staring. "Don't get any ideas," the older warrior warned, his voice light but serious. "You know the rules. No Durumbar can marry a woman from the Kravani." Tarek stiffened but said nothing. "They can only be slaves or trophies," the warrior continued, "or dead." He let the last word hang in the air, but then smiled as if it were nothing more than a joke. Nora's heart clenched, but she kept her face neutral. Tarek responded coolly, "She is under my protection for now. Nothing more." But Nora could sense the tension in his words. He wasn't simply protecting her as a healer. There was something else brewing beneath the surface, something more personal. And though the tribe's customs allowed no place for love between their people and those of Kravani, Tarek's growing feelings were becoming more obvious. As the hunt began, Nora tried to keep her mind focused. The forest was vast, and there was a chance she could use the chaos of the hunt to slip away. But Tarek never left her side, and the warriors were too alert, their eyes scanning the forest for prey, and for any potential threats. The party rode deeper into the wilderness, the sounds of laughter and conversation echoing through the trees. Despite the looming danger,